hot in the next couple weeks. That team that maybe got off to a slow start and puts it together, and it's going to be interesting regardless.
So we got to start off today with an apology. We had a little mix-up in the grade 8 this week. We were flooded with a lot of boys soccer, and I flipped a goal by Killingly with a goal against Killingly. So at number 8 in the grade 8 this week, you should have seen you saw the goal. You should have seen the name Ismael Reyes of Wyndham. And so if you go in our feed now, you will see his name correctly on his goal, and you will see the goal scored by Christian Tremblay of Killingly. And so apologies for that mistake, and we want to make sure we got that right.
Two things jump to mind. Number one is shocking to me that this doesn't happen more. I mean, because if you understand just how much thought, I hope you understand how much thought and we actually really take our time in looking at these things to try to figure out. So it's crazy to me that this hasn't happened before because, to your point, which is the second take of this, we get so many clips, and thank you to everybody for sending these in, but we get so many clips, and a lot of them are, I joke that the 40-yard free kick is becoming, it's like root canal now. Once upon a time, it was a big deal, and now it's like the 40-yard free kick is just happening everywhere. So we get all these goals, and a lot of them are very similar to each other. So it's kind of surprising we haven't made this mistake before, but more importantly, it's corrected. We apologize, and you can check out the accurate goal and player responsible if you go to the feed now. So,
all right, I think this is what people are waiting for, so jump into it.
All right, so first of all, I want to say thank you to I have gotten so many responses to these power rankings. It is very clear that people are taking these very, very seriously, and that they're very interested in my thoughts, which...
So that's your first problem?
Yeah.
You should not be interested in Casey's thoughts.
I could not agree with you more.
And should not take a single thing he says seriously.
Again, I could not agree with you more, 100%. But since I'm told that this is the case, people do take these very seriously. Don't take the rankings seriously because it's a template. It's a outline. Take the feedback seriously because I do mean the things that I say. So I'm going to preface all of this by thank you for the feedback and thank you for the passion that you have shown. To the teams just on the outside looking in, I'm going to say at the end of the video what I like about your team so far this year and a roadmap to getting you into the top 10. But up at number 10, up at number 1, no surprise that anyone will stay with the cream of the ECC crop, Killingly. They did exactly what they needed to do, which was beat East Slime. Now, they do have an out-of-conference game this week against an undefeated Jonathan Law team, a very reputable program. So Killingly certainly not getting the week off, but they did exactly what they needed to do last week.
And I think in the beginning of the season, we talked a lot about their offense. A shutout last game, so showing that they can get it done on defense also.
And you try not to read, maybe the overreact from week 1 is, Bishop Hendricken might score 50 in every game they play this year. They're that good. So the overreact might have been, hey, maybe the Killingly defense isn't that great. Actually, the Killingly defense played a lot better. You're correct. Fitch did exactly what they needed to do. They went and beat a reputable, quality opponent in Wyndham, so they're going to stay right there at number 2. I want to emphasize again that Fitch is doing this with, granted, Porter Carter's a reputable quarterback who's been there before, but he wasn't supposed to be the quarterback. So they've won 2 games with a kid who wasn't supposed to be their quarterback. It'll be interesting what Mike Ellis does as he gets players returning.
This feels a little bit like a chalk pick to me, but nothing against Fitch. I think we would have picked Fitch to win these 2 games on paper. So they are performing to expectations. I'm excited to see them get challenged against some teams of like reputation and size. Wyndham,
granted.
Great team, great program, just a much smaller team in terms of numbers and much smaller school.
Fitch has Amity this week, and I'm not sure if that game is in Amity, but if it is, I think they're leaving now. That's Woodbridge that they have to get to. But, yep, Fitch stays at 2. It's number 3 where we see our first change. Rocketing up the charts here to number 3, fresh off of what I consider to be the most impressive victory of the week, the Ledyard Colonels. Opening the season with 2 very impressive wins. I don't know what more you could need to see from the Colonels to think that they're the arrow is pointing directly up.
After that win, they told Mike DeMoro that they've been overlooked, and they're right. And I'm not sure you have them high enough.
Well, this week we're going to find out a little bit more about them because their opponent is Griswold, and I think we're going to learn a little bit more because I do think that Ledyard's victories so far have shown them to be more physical, more capable than perhaps some people, not me. I mean, I've got them rocketing up the charts, week in, week out. I even said in the grade 8, don't sleep on the Colonels. I firmly believe they're and I chose Mike Siricchio as my guy on my Lewis and Clark team. I mean, I can't do more here, Ledyard. But right now you're at 3 with a chance to continue to move up. Number 4, I can't drop them any lower. I mean, I'm dropping them a spot even off of a resounding victory. But Waterford comes in at my number 4 spot. Why did you drop? Why Waterford? Because I can hear you now. Why? We won. We won easy. We won by a bunch. Why are we dropping? Nothing against you. You went out without a couple of players. You were banged up. You were nicked up, and you went and you beat Stonington. You want a reason? I don't know, 100-some-odd yards in penalties, some turnovers. It was kind of sloppy, and Ledyard put on a great performance. Like I said, don't take these too seriously. I mean, I could flip-flop you again next week. I mean, this is just more of a nod to Ledyard's resounding win over an NFA team, more so than it is in reaction to Waterford. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm just dropping you a spot.
I am fairly certain that Coach Bunley led with exactly that this week in practice. Got to clean up the penalties. No one on the coaching staff, I guarantee you, was happy with that. Waterford, their line, even without Donato Barnhill, looked very good. It was a dominant performance in the end of the game. They made some mistakes in the beginning. Won a game that we probably thought they were going to win.
Yeah.
But I still maintain they have one of the highest ceilings in this league.
I think 2 things really stood out to me. I think their defense has a chance to be borderline special. They've got some real playmakers on defense, and if the Van Overloops and Dijaks of the world continue to play at the level they're playing, we saw some other guys, Vasquez. We saw some guys really emerge. I think they have a chance. The secondary was much better than I realized. They can tackle. I think the defense is actually pretty good. I think offensively they're overcoming not having some of the people they thought they were going to have, and they're kind of trying to figure it out. But I can't imagine that Parker Spencer's not going to become circled every week for Waterford. So we'll see how they overcome that.
I imagine he was circled this week, and look what he did.
Well, he had to score. He scored on defense. That was ultimately with the number 1 play of the week. If you haven't seen it, check out this week's grade 8 for the Parker Spencer thievery.
So I expect this week that he is going to kick a field goal and return a kickoff.
And maybe a blocked extra point, 2-point conversion going the other way. These are all on the table still for Parker. Number 5, I'm only dropping him a spot from last week. East Lyme moves down to 5. To me, it's not fair to, you lose a game to Killingly. I can't drop you. If I thought you were 4 last week, a loss to Killingly is not moving you more than a spot. East Lyme out of conference this week in a battle of the Easts. They play East Haven for supremacy of the Easts. And I think we'll learn a little bit against, that's a, school out of conference that if they beat kind of reaffirms that they're a solid team. But I've said you can't read anything into losses to Killingly.
No, I'm not sure we learned anything more about East Lyme in that game.
Yeah. Here comes the surprise of the week. 2-0, undefeated. Bacon Academy Bobcats sliding into the 6th spot. All they did off of the win over Oxford, by the way, an Oxford team that went out and won their game in week 2.
So, by the way, no one's surprised that you're picking Bacon Academy.
They went out and beat Amistad 51-0. So in the back-to-back weeks, they've given up 6-0. I mean, their defense is playing great. Right now, they got a little something going on, and here comes the first big starred, circled game of the week. Bacon Academy in Wyndham. They had an unbelievable game 2 years ago at Wyndham, where Wyndham won in the last minute of the game on a touchdown run. These two teams have a very, very good rivalry with each other over the past few years, and I think we will learn more from that game than any other game this week. But right now, how do you keep a 2-0 team, not in the middle of the pack there? Bacon Academy is off to a great start.
As much as I want to argue with you on this one, I guess I can't, because they've won games and won this week in a really strong fashion.
So saying that, just like I can't drop East Lyme too far, losing to Killingly, I can't drop Wyndham too far. They lost to Fitch, my number 2 team. They come right in at number 7, and that makes that 6v7 game this week, which I mentioned, Bacon Wyndham, a very important game toward these power rankings. Wyndham's, I started them the year at 10, then they jumped up, and now they're right there. This week will tell me, I think, is Wyndham that, or are they not, or are they higher? I really think we'll learn a lot.
It's hard to make judgments when you've got these games between a small school, small team, big school, big team. I think we maybe overlooked Ledyard a little bit and didn't give them as much of a chance against a really big school like NFA. A win like that looks really good for Ledyard. Losses like East Lyme and Wyndham had this week don't necessarily look all that bad for them. Yeah. It's when they start playing in the games that we expect to be competitive or expect them to win.
Exactly. And then I think that's this week. So that brings us to number 8. Number 8, they went out and won their game against Montville handily. The Griswold Wolverines move up a spot from 9 to 8. But, as I mentioned, game number 2 with a star around it. Griswold Ledyard this week. If Griswold, if they're going to have the kind of year I think they want to have, this is a game they got to try to find a way to win. And conversely, if Ledyard's going to keep saying, hey, don't overlook us, this is a game they can't lose. So the Griswold offense continues to be high-powered. We knew it would be. The defense has been a little suspect. I think they're going to, if their defense can't show up physically this week against a Ledyard team that's not going to throw the ball and is just going to continue to be physical, Griswold prides itself on physicality. This is a great matchup this week for both teams.
We'll be very interested to see that result.
All right. Here's probably the pick that I'm having the most difficult time with. Dropping from 7 to 9, NFA. I considered dropping them to 10. I considered dropping them out altogether. They're 0-2. But, again, 2 losses. If you say Ledyard's legitimately good, then that loss doesn't look so bad. And obviously week 1, Trumbull was not a bad loss. So here's their week. This week, Xavier. How do they go out and on the road? But how do you go play against Xavier? If you can win this game, you're justifying the faith that people have in you. If you lose this game, you're not saying that you're not going to read it, but it's got to be a competitive game with Xavier. And I think NFA, we keep looking at all the possibilities around them, and I think that their ceiling there is big too. I think they've got all of what it takes. This would not surprise me if this team went on a 5-game winning streak at any point. But right now, from just a results base, they're 0-2. So, I can only put them up so far. I can't. They're like Notre Dame, right? Notre Dame stayed in the top 25 at 0-2 because people looked at the losses. I'm keeping NFA there because of the losses, but we'll see what happens this week.
Yeah, it's hard to make an argument that an 0-2 team deserves to be higher, but to lose to another double L school and then to lose to the team that might be you've got them third best. They might be the second best team in this conference when everything shakes out. I mean, Killingly in the next few has got a couple of challenging games over the next several weeks. Mm-hmm. And if they lose a close one to a good opponent and Ledyard hasn't lost yet, I don't envy you making that choice.
Yes, we will. I'll make two of them. We'll air one in Killingly. We'll air another one in Ledyard. So that leaves number 10. And Valley, the Panthers went out. They lost this week, and so I am dropping them out of the top 10 and bringing back into the top 10 a team that went out and won in week 2, and I'm bringing the New London Whalers back into the top 10. They lost that tough one to Berlin, which I said I don't want to read too much into because it's Berlin. They went out and beat Woodstock. Now, Woodstock is down. They are 0-2 this year, but New London took care of business, did what they needed to do, puts them back in the top 10. So this week, New London plays Stonington, and so that gives me a second before we talk about all of it, just to talk about the teams that are on the outside looking in. Plainfield, the Valley Panthers on the outside looking in. They play Woodstock this week. So you want to get back in, beat Woodstock. Woodstock hasn't won yet. You're playing another team. These are the games that get you back in. Montville, I want to see more plays like we saw from Chance Jones. More chance to get into the top 10 if you play like that, right? So Montville, I saw some things that we liked. I loved the physicality from Chance Jones. All it takes is one nice win. Granted, they're at Waterford. If Montville could ever pull off the upset against Waterford, obviously we would take notice. But Stonington, outside looking in, 0-2. But there was a lot to like in the game we saw and broadcast Friday night. The young quarterback, Thomas, has, there's a lot there. The team played to the end. Logan Christina is a beast of a running back. Like, this week against New London, I think this is their chance to show that they belong, in this conversation, and I'll be very interested. These are two teams who need this win.
Stonington, I think, a little bit of a victim of their early schedule, playing maybe one of the strongest comparative strengths of schedules. So they're going to have a bunch of difficult matchups before they get into 4 games in a row with schools that are in their ECC division, all of which should be competitive games. Yeah. And we saw a lot of promise from the Bears. We saw a few legitimate studs out there that would be a standout on any team. And so I think that there are good things ahead for the Bears. They just need to get through a couple of pretty challenging matchups.
Yeah, I mean, you look, again, the young quarterback throws the ball well, has great pocket presence. Christina at running back. I mean, Max De La Rosa is a weapon. They're still trying to figure out. I watched the play again where he gets past the secondary. I mean, Thomas throws the ball 40 yards, and you can't throw it far enough for De La Rosa to not run underneath it. So the defense played pretty well at times. So there's a lot there to like. So you're 100% right. I'll be the first person to throw Stonington back in the mix. And I do think there's wins on that schedule for them ahead. And New London, I don't want to overreact in either direction. I mean, that they lost a game I think they should have lost, and then they won a game I think they should have won. So here comes a toss-up game with Stonington. So for the teams on the outside looking in, one game at a time, and we get back in this things. For the teams that are in the top 10 right now, we're going to find out a lot about them. But what I think more than anything that I'm sure about is that the Killingly is the best team in the league that I've seen, and everybody else can play themselves into the rest of the slots. So I mean, I Ledyard, Fitch, Waterford. I mean, any of those teams could end up. Like I said, if NFA went on a 5-game run, it wouldn't surprise me, right? So this is where we start to figure things out. But I think I have a decent idea of a few of these teams. But honestly, that all gets thrown out the window here as we play.
Everybody likes to prove you wrong.
I do like that.
We like it when you prove Casey wrong. So get out there and get it done.
Keep sending us your thoughts on who the best teams are. Keep sending us your thoughts on all the things we do wrong, all the things we do right, anything in between. Once again, go check out the new revised Grade 8 to find out our mistake on number 8. And we'll be bringing you the preview of NFA and Xavier in the coming days, and then of course on Friday night we'll be live from Xavier. You'll be without me. You guys have decided to call in the big guns. Joe D will be stepping in, so you lose all of my quaintness and you bring in a true professional. So we'll see how much that game. That game I think will have a lot of interest in it, and I'm looking forward to the environment over at Xavier.
And we'll see if you get invited back.
It's like he kids, but that's on the table. That's in play.